Am I the a-hole for not telling my dying husband I'm pregnant? Hey, this is really SHT, but I'm a mother of 2 teens, and married to a guy I'll call Steve. Sorry if this is all a mess, it's a bit of a messed up story. The marriage was basically one of convenience. Steve and I are both divorced and have been friends for decades. This past spring Steve found out he has a rare cancer and the doctors gave him about 6 months to live. 3 years ago Steve sought out the daughter he had before his marriage from a one-night stand in his 20s. When he found her he discovered his daughter, 10 years old, I'll call her Sarah, was being horrifically abused by her mother, who had some kind of mental break I guess. Anyway, he spent a year fighting for custody of this child he hadn't seen since she was a baby, and he eventually got it, then spent 2 years working with her and getting her to heal and trust him and surprise. He's effing dying. Anyway, the marriage thing was mostly about Sarah. We were advised that getting married would be the quickest, easiest way to make sure I get custody of Sarah when Steve passes, in case Sarah's mother decides to try for custody again. And as a side note, I 100% do want custody of Sarah, no question. I love her very, very much. She's already like a sister to my 2 kids and similar in age. That girl has gone from not owning a effing pair of shoes to being a funny, smart, all-around great kid. Anyway, we got married on paper with no wedding, and Steve and Sarah moved into my house. All the kids knew what was happening and were surprisingly cool with it. Yeah, so, stuff happened between me and Steve. He confessed he had been in love with me for a long time, and I just kind of said it all back to him even though I'm not 100% sure of my feelings. It all just happened fast. I don't know. Maybe that was wrong of me, but I wanted his time left to be happy and I do care for him a lot. In the last few weeks Steve has gone downhill very quickly. He is still mostly at home except for a few short hospital stays. There are nurses that come every day and he is on strong pain medicine, so sometimes he's himself but a lot of times really out of it. He's basically just here dying right in front of my effing eyes and it sucks. And I just found out this week that I'm pregnant. I'm not sure that I want to keep the baby. I'm old as dirt with now 3 teenage kids to think of. I'm strongly considering not telling Steve at all, but it feels very wrong. Telling him also feels wrong. He's more upset about leaving Sarah than he is about dying, so finding out he's leaving another kid behind will probably only hurt him. Having an abortion feels wrong. Keeping the kid feels wrong. Nothing about this is okay and I really just want a cigarette and a bottle of wine. We were friends. I got married young, big mistake. By the time I got divorced, he was married. After he got divorced, I was dealing with major health issues with my youngest. Then Sarah became his focus. Somewhere in that mess we worked full-time jobs, buried 3 parents between us, made and received late-night intoxicated calls to and from our exes. Well, sometimes the calls from my ex were from a jail cell, but it was always about time. There was just never time. This past year, being single parents together, we were a great team. Steve taught my oldest how to drive. Steve called me at work when his daughter got her period. We had each other's backs. I was starting to fall for him. It seemed like it was inevitable. It seemed right. It seemed like we finally had time. But we didn't ''T. And then everything just got rushed and pushed together and compressed. Like someone was pushing fast forward on our lives or the writers were rushing the ending to go work on Star Wars. So yeah, I love Steve. But the last few months have felt weird and artificial. I'm grieving for the relationship we could have had, more than the one we do. I am pretty sure I'm going to keep the baby and tell Steve, but I want to sleep on it first. But here's the twist. I'm not a month pregnant, found out I'm like 15 weeks pregnant, not 4. Baby is a girl. She will be loved and a welcome part of our family.